Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Fins Nation. I'm your host, Louis Sung, and I am joined by my Pulse of Fins Nation co-host, Ron Canniff. Remember I said the other day that we were going to talk about somebody who does not want Dalvin Cook on the Miami Dolphins roster? Well, here he is. Hello, Ron. How are you?
What an introduction. This idiot doesn't want Dalvin Cook. His name's Ron.
I mean, hey, listen, I remember back in the day on Squish the Fish, I was the guy you were bringing on who was going to defend Ryan Tannehill to the death.
And our conversation and argument about that, which is how we met on Twitter, was it was about offensive line. We're still talking about the offensive line.
It was about Tannehill. It was Tannehill based. It was offensive line, but it was because of Tannehill.
Yeah, but I'm a Tannehill fan, so I still am.
Not enough to say that he's good, though. I've moved beyond.
Yeah, we won't get it. We'll save that for a different topic. Is Tannehill good?
It's like, were we wrong about Ryan Tannehill? Depends on your definition of wrong.
On Titans Nation, we can talk about that.
Alrighty. So we'll go ahead and get into the whole Dalvin Cook situation. So in a nutshell, I want Dalvin Cook. Ron does not. We'll get into the reasons why or why not. But before that, really quick, just want to go ahead and mention that this show, as always, is brought to you by our good friends over at You Brake Wheel Fix. You Brake Wheel Fix is a complete automotive wheel solution. Ever parked too close to the sidewalk curb? You Brake Wheel Fix specializes in the repair of damaged wheels from bends, cracks, and curb rash. Or maybe your wheels are faded or peeling. You don't need to replace them, as You Brake Wheel Fix can refinish them to like new. Offering complete refinish options through powder coating, machining, and polishing, You Brake Wheel Fix is the answer to all of your wheel needs. And if you're just looking to give your ride a new look, You Brake Wheel Fix also offers many car customizing options, such as new custom wheels and tires from your favorite brands, performance upgrades, window tinting, and suspension modifications. Located just south of Aventura, you can reach Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or online at youbrakewheelfix.com. They are really active on all social media platforms at You Brake Wheel Fix, so shoot them a DM on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter and get an estimate in just minutes. So don't delay, go to You Brake Wheel Fix and start customizing your ride to show off your Dolphins fandom today. This show is also brought to you by PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks.com is a revolutionary fantasy platform where you can now pick up to 6 different players across professional sports leagues. Whether that's the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, the NHL, one of each, is up to you to decide. And now the WNBA has returned too if you want to put some props on that. All you have to do is choose whether your chosen player will get more or less in their projected stat. They give you free squares. Today is Taco Tuesday, so make sure you're keeping an eye out for those discounted picks. They give you Flex Friday specials where you can get your money back if you lose or multiply the amount of money you can normally win. So with offers like that, it's hard to justify not signing up if you're any kind of a fantasy sports fan. So use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Again, that's promo code 5, spell that out, FIVE. Go to prizepicks.com, deposit your $100, and let PrizePicks give you $100 of their dollars for you to play with and get started winning today. All right, Ron, so I'm going to go ahead and set this up with you first. So I saw that you were on OnlyFins, which, by the way, is only $3 a month, folks, and it's some of the best Dolphins talk on Twitter. So it's only $3 a month. I'm sorry, did I say Twitter? I meant on Discord. Yeah, it's better than Twitter.
I'm sure it's the best Dolphins talk on Discord, but
well, yeah, it might be the only.
I don't know that there's any
Discord. I don't know until the Miami Dolphins make an official Discord for themselves, moderated by Travis Wingfield. I don't think it's gonna.
Then it would just be Twitter.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is why we're on this thing.
Well, no, because would Twitter pay for the they're not going to get any insider info on the Dolphins official Discord.
Not from Travis, they're not.
No, not from Travis. Not if he values his job.
No offense to him. He's the guy who knows more than anyone and can say less.
He can say nothing. He's allowed to say nothing.
Yes, but exactly. Anyway. But he sure is awesome when training camp gets shut down to all media, and we only had Travis Wingfield for a few years. Remember in the Flores time?
Mm-hmm.
Flores got all salty, and all we had was Travis. That was it. We had no other way to know what happened during training camp. So he was definitely a savior then.
No, I'm so glad those days are gone. I'm so glad Mike McDaniel embraces the world of social media, embraces us as a fan base. He's like, yes, I love you guys. We are going to have a lot of fun together. I love that mentality in him. Did you see him hyping up the Miami Heat the other night?
He embraces South Florida, man. He embraces the
He is the essence. He is the essence of South Florida. I hope even if he doesn't do well for the next few years, I hope he sticks around for a good long time because doggone it. Listen, other coaches are allowed to have losing seasons. Why can't the Dolphins coaches?
Yeah, we can't allow that. They're not allowed to get rid of McDaniels. We have to make sure as a fan base this team does good. Whatever we got to do, man.
Like we'll go
to make sure that this guy sticks around for a while.
We'll make sure the visiting team's alarms go off at night.
Yeah, I just want McDaniel for like the next 2 decades. That's what
so we'll have to have like a pick 'em in a hat. Like, okay, it's your job tonight to go make sure that the fire alarm goes off in the hotel. You turn on all the sprinklers and everything. The bus breaks down on the way to the stadium.
Plane won't start. Plane can't take off. Got to change. Yeah, exactly. Equipment missing.
Equipment malfunctioning. Oh my God! So many
overinflate the balls. Whatever you got to do.
All right. So actually, we're going to talk about Dalvin Cook now that we've had our usual banter back and forth. Okay, so I just want to go ahead and let you have a time to just explain, because you were the one on only Fins who basically said that you were hoping that the Miami Dolphins actually do not acquire Dalvin Cook, which honestly is more surprising to me now that the Dolphins would not have to give up any kind of draft investment to get him, because we all but confirmed at this point. No, it has been confirmed. Literally the Vikings reporter said, hey, he's going to be cut as a June 1st cut, so he's going to be a free agent, free to test the market and do whatever the heck he wants. So if that's the case, and if he really wants to come to Miami, I am curious why you would not want him to come in.
Well, let's back up a little bit pre-draft. Pre-draft, we had what? We had no running backs on, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
We had no running backs under contract. That is correct. 0
running backs on the roster. And then, they re-signed, maybe it was Gaskin first, and they re-signed Ahmed, and then they re-signed Mostert and Wilson, and we had the same 4.
Don't forget Myles Gaskin.
And
can't forget Myles Gaskin.
Yeah, I said Gaskin first, actually.
Oh, you did? I completely missed that.
I think he was the first one re-signed. I don't really remember.
No, he wasn't. Ahmed was the first one.
Okay, so, and once that happened, I was like, okay, they're still gonna go after. Like, we kept on hearing about Cook, and we heard about Derrick Henry. Now, the Cook stuff got me very excited, because I think Dalvin Cook is really good, and I think having those other guys to spell him would be great. But the Derrick Henry talk, what little there was of it, obviously that didn't ring as loud as the Cook stuff. That really got me pumped, man. That got me pumped. Because I just think Derrick Henry's a world better than Dalvin Cook, even though Dalvin Cook's really good. But man, it all changed when we drafted Achane, man. Achane, I should say. It all changed for me. I as we discussed last time on Pulse of Fins Nation, neither one of us are quote unquote film guys, but for whatever reason, I just decided I'm gonna quote unquote look at Achane's film and see what I see. So pretty much watching his film was just watching a bunch of plays in a row of him, that were already cut up of him doing what he does. Man, I watched this guy and I'm like, this guy, number one, was one of the fastest guys in the draft, or the fastest running back in the draft, or whatever.
Some people were saying he's the fastest guy in the draft period.
Yeah, he ran like a 4.32. I mean, sometimes there's somebody in the draft that'll go sub 4.3, but it's possible.
Who saw him on the scouting combine isn't sure if he's the fastest guy in the draft. He thinks one of those wide receivers. I think the Ravens might have gotten him. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, he was one of the fastest guys, probably the fastest running back. But it wasn't just the speed. I mean, we have speed. Mostert has speed. I saw a guy who was just so good at reading where to take the ball behind the line. And it's not just like an outside zone situation, like inside the tackles. That guy can run, but he does it with just such like quick little, it's just so fast. And the same thing when he catches the ball. He catches the ball in the flat. He grabs it and then he just takes off. And so this isn't a money thing. This is you have Mostert, you have Wilson, those guys are good and they can carry parts of the load for periods of time. I don't want any more reps than what will go to those guys taken away from Achane. I think it does the team a disservice to do that, to bring Dalvin Cook in here. This isn't we should save our money. We need Cam Fleming. We need an offensive line. We blah, blah, blah. This isn't anything to do with that. This is simply, I think we should be highlighting Achane and what he can do. And I think bringing Cook in takes McDaniel away from doing that. We already see McDaniel struggles a little bit to commit to the run. Some of that is just because we were struggling in third and short or short yardage situations. And some of that is we just have such a good passing game, and Tua is so accurate, and these receivers are so fast that it's too tempting to not go for it in the pass game when you should be running. But I just don't want to see anything more taken away from Achane in this offense that needs to be, because I have a feeling I was not excited about last year's draft. I'm much more excited about the guys we got this year. I like Cam Smith. I like Higgins, but I am pumped about Achane. I'm pumped about this guy. I think that he got way underdrafted. I think he should have been drafted much sooner than he was, even though he's a running back. And I think Miami got a steal. And I think we got a first rounder in the second round in Cam Smith. And we got, to me, a mid-second rounder easy in the third round in Achane. And I think this guy could really help our offense explode, even more so than Cook. Honestly, even more so than Cook. And I would just prefer us not sign Cook. I think we're good. I think it would be overkill. And it's not an either or for me of, no, you need to go do this. We're not talking about that right now. We're simply talking about it's overkill. You don't need to do it. It's not necessary. And you're taking away reps from a guy who's probably going to be super special, in my opinion.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with anything you said about Devon Achane. I think he really could be special. I think he could be something fantastic in this offense. But where I disagree with you is only on the fact that it takes away from Devon Achane. I really don't feel like we should be focusing so much on that. I think what we need to be looking at right here is the whole of the offense. And the reason I say that is because you look at these situations from a player's perspective, right? If you are a player and you know these guys, right? If you see Dalvin Cook back there, and you know what Dalvin Cook is capable of. Now, I'm gonna point out something that Hussam actually posted in our 5 Reasons Dolphins chat. Dalvin Cook actually has a lot of explosive plays, but he also has a lot of negative plays too. So I'll give that as just a playing devil's advocate here on my part. But for my thought process, it becomes a question of, do the players on the other side of the ball respect that guy? And you know for a fact that other defenders, linebackers, defensive ends, corners, safeties, whatever, they see Dalvin Cook back there, and they know that Dalvin Cook can eat them alive if he so desires. There's a reason that, even though we keep hearing about this, right? He keeps talking about, oh, his shoulder was hurt the entire season. His broken shoulder, he pulls, whatever. I don't remember the exact injury, but he was injured the entire season. And yet somehow he still managed to run for 1,000 yards. And now we're hearing about how he's healthy now. He's going to be able to run the ball even better than last time. I know that Mike McDaniel is excited about Devon Achane. We saw it during the draft. He pumped his fist. He was so excited. He didn't want to talk about Cam Smith, their second round pick. He was all about their third round pick, Devon Achane. He was so excited to add him to the offense. Yeah, I can't blame you. But I'm looking at this from the perspective of what helps this offense, not just from a talent standpoint, but also just from a gamesmanship standpoint. And Dalvin Cook brings something to this roster that is, again, I think we have lots of it already. Thank you, Chris Greer, but a little bit more never hurts. And it's star power. Dalvin Cook is not like he had an off year and he only ran for 500 yards and he only averaged 3 yards a carry or anything like that. He was still running the ball really well when he was healthy. And healthy, quote unquote, healthy with him, but still he ran for over 1,000 yards last season. So I'm looking at it from this perspective of, he's going to be back home. He's going to be in an offense that's going to be very friendly to running backs because of the way that the blocking scheme is created. He's going to be home. He's going to want to be home. He likes the idea of being home. So we'll see how much he values money over where he wants to go, the actual destination. Jalen Ramsey, he got his money, but he wanted to come to Miami. He said so. I want to come to Miami. Like, that was where he wanted to be. If Dalvin Cook is the same way, I'm going to look at him and say, listen, how badly do you want to be here? That's number one. If he really wants to be here, I'm going to give him an offer, and I'm not going to lowball him. I have to respect the fact that, for all intents and purposes, he is a superstar running back who teams on the defensive side of the ball are going to respect because of who he is. I'm not going to say he's like Derrick Henry. Nobody's Derrick Henry. But it's kind of that same mythos. You look at Dalvin Cook, it's like, oh, Dalvin Cook's back there. I got to be careful. He could carry the ball and he could run for 20 yards, and I wouldn't even be able to bring him down once he gets a full head of steam. Devon Achane, He can burn people, sure. He's a very good north and south runner. I can't wait to see what he does. But he doesn't have the reputation of a Dalvin Cook. And if you're looking at it from the perspective of what helps this offense this year, 2023, as the Miami Dolphins are pushing for a Super Bowl, I'm looking at this perspective of there are going to be teams looking at Dalvin Cook back there, wondering if Tua's going to hand it off to one of the best running backs in football. And if he's a play action, well, you've already committed to trying to stop Dalvin Cook, which means that Tyreek Hill is probably running 60 yards down the field somewhere, and he's going to have to come back because everybody has to come back when it's Tyreek Hill running the ball. But anyway, he's going to catch the ball, run in for a touchdown, throw up the peace sign, and it's all over. With Devon Achane, teams are going to be like, okay, we know this kid could be good, but we're not going to like sell out to stop him because we don't know what he's capable of yet.
Well, I got you, but I feel like, okay, he doesn't have the reputation of Cook, but I feel like we're going to be catching Cook on the back end of his career, honestly, especially as a running back. I mean, we don't know that this isn't the year that you sign the guy and then he's just mid. And luckily we already have Achane there, so if he is, then we move on to that, and of course we continue to we cannot dismiss Mostert or Wilson because we've seen those guys both take over games last year.
No, I'm not dismissing them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want, when I say we, I mean I'm including myself. It's not just an Achane or Cook, and we put Mostert and Wilson to the back. That's what I'm saying. We have Mostert. We know he can take over a game. We have Wilson. We know he can step in and be really good. Now you have Achane, and I think he can be special, and he definitely has some. I mean, there's a reason why McDaniel really, 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 really wanted this guy. It just seems like overkill, and I don't know. I won't say it seems silly, but it's just not necessary.
It's not necessary, but
necessary to sign Dalvin Cook, and I think that aura, that stigma, is a good stigma, I guess, in this case, of Dalvin Cook being back there. I think you start handing the ball off to Achane, and that you start doing it, the Chargers aren't going to even know that's what's up. Like, they're going to be surprised. They're not going to be surprised if Dalvin Cook starts running on them. They'll be surprised. By week 2 or 3, I think that people are going to be lining up to try and stop Achane. That's what I think. I just don't think that. I think the Dalvin Cook thing would be short-lived. He doesn't really stay healthy. He struggles to stay on the field. And I would rather just see the reps take those Dalvin Cook reps and give a lot more to Achane, give more to Mostert, give some more to Wilson. Let those 3 guys come in and just be the guys. Like, we just don't need Cook, man. It's just not necessary. I'm not saying he's a bad player or anything, and he won't. Maybe he could even take over some games, but we already have running backs that can take over games, and I'm not even including Achane in there. We've seen Wilson do it. We've definitely seen Mostert do it.
Well, let me go ahead and pitch this to you. So, regarding Dalvin Cook's durability, I was just looking at how many games he's played in over the course of the past several seasons. Actually, last year he actually played in all 17 games. Did you know that?
No, I know that he. I didn't know that, but I knew that he stayed, on the field more. I just know that he wasn't healthy most of the time.
Right. So, but he still ran for 4.4 yards a carry. The year before that, he played.
Which is good.
Yeah.
How many yards per carry did Mostert run for last year?
I know that Raheem Mostert ran for a good amount of yards. That's why I was all in favor of bringing him in and bringing him back.
Yeah, I almost think that
for the Dolphins, he averaged 4.9 yards a carry.
Yeah,
yes,
see what I'm saying? Like,
I agree with you.
Okay, cool. We already have Mostert, and I'll bet you anything Achane can come in and give you 4.4.
But here's the thing: Dalvin Cook had almost 100 more carries than he did.
Yeah, but that's because they decided to run the ball more. That's just it's on McDaniel that if he's going to take these 3 running backs. And when I say 3, I mean Mostert, Wilson, and Achane. Like, it's up to him to use these guys now. Now, I've continuously said that last year he was trying to figure out the offense and how he was really trying to figure out how are teams going to defend me because, A, I'm known to be the running back guru, right? But I've got this high-flying offense here, or what I think will be, and we're kind of going back to, let's say the season hasn't quite started yet, or it's just kind of getting going. I believe we have these high-flying offense and these speedy receivers in Hill and Waddle And I feel like if I'm the head coach / defensive coordinator, I'm lining up to stop that. But instead, teams weren't. They were kind of thinking, oh, McDaniel's a running guy, so we're going to stop the run. That's what teams did in the defense. That's what teams did at the beginning. So he's like, okay, I guess I got to start throwing it. So he really didn't get to implement the running game because he kind of had to throw to open the run. Then once that started to happen, then it was when he had a good running plan, it worked well, but then he would go away from it because he couldn't resist throwing the ball because, you got Hill, you got Waddle, you got Tua, he's playing great. And then they would go away from the run too much. But now I think he has a better feel for how all of this is going to go. And I can see just a beautiful mix with Mostert. I think Mostert would be your day one. Let's say Cook isn't in the equation. Mostert's your day one starter still, not Achane. And I think they work in Achane a little bit slowly over the first few games, where they wouldn't with Cook. Cook comes in, he's your day one starter, I believe, if healthy, right?
Oh,
and
yeah,
then they work in Mostert, and Wilson's kind of on the back burner a little bit. So it would be a different mix, but I know that he would start figuring that out with Achane, like big time, and Achane would start getting more and more and more carries. And if you bring in Cook, I'm telling you, you're taking all that away. You're taking all that away, and you're taking away a guy that can be really explosive on the field. And imagine a speed duo too of Mostert and Achane at running back. I mean, you've got pretty much in essence the two fastest running backs, the two fastest wide receivers, and or the two best wide receivers even, or the best duo of running backs possibly, in my opinion. I know I'm prognosticating. People think I'm nuts, but and then, on the defensive side, you have the two best cornerbacks. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this conversation. Mm-hmm. I just feel like I can really see that trio working good, especially that 1-2 punch of Mostert and Achane. Will it work with Cook? Sure, but you drafted Achane. Why, if you were going to bring in Cook, did you bother? For me, it would just, and it's not about money, but it would have to be like such a cheap deal that you just can't not do it. Like if they say, oh, he's coming here for $2.5 million. Okay, you can't not do that. You got to sign Dalvin Cook for $2.5 million. But if they tell me he's going to be making $6 million a year, nah, I'm good, dog. Like you can go make $6 million somewhere else. You go make $6 million with your brother in Buffalo or something. We've got this three-headed.
I don't think you want
monster
that
here. Wilson, Mostert, Achane. We're solid.
You do not want Dalvin Cook in Buffalo.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not. I don't know, man. He's really good and all, but it's nothing that gets me like super pumped, especially now that we have Achane. I just don't. I don't need it, man. For me, as a Dolphins fan, I'm all set there.
I'll go ahead and close my thoughts with this.
Yeah, you close it. It's your show. Final word goes to you.
For all the discussion you've had about why he takes away from other players, I will say this: the one thing we haven't discussed this entire time, and it's something that it's kind of surrounds all of these players except for Achane because we don't know what he's going to bring yet. Even if you bring in Dalvin Cook, Raheem Mostert is injury prone. Jeff Wilson got hurt last year for a good chunk of time. Dalvin Cook can also sometimes be injury prone. He played all the games last year. Good for him, but he was hurt the whole time doing it. So if something happens again to Mostert, you're down to Wilson and Achane. What if something happens to Wilson? Now you have Achane and Savon Ahmed. I would rather have Dalvin Cook and Devon Achane than Devon Achane and Savon Ahmed.
So you're going to bring in Dalvin Cook for depth. So how much you?
No, I'm bringing in Dalvin Cook to be my starter, and if something happens to him, then I can go fall back on two starter-worthy caliber players.
How much you willing to pay him? What do you think? What's your number that you think? Okay, they should do it at that number.
If he's still a Pro Bowl guy, I'm gonna give him that $6 million. That's not a whole lot, man. Derrick Henry's making more than that, a lot more than that.
It's a lot for a team that's as tight as we are. But again, for me,
we're not that tight. Once the money comes in from Byron Jones, it's going to be open.
Back to $13 million, which we're supposed to be spending on Cam Fleming. But I don't know if that'll happen.
I don't think Cam Fleming's going to cost that much. I really don't.
Yeah, I think he's not going to cost that much.
He cost $3 million. And honestly, with the whole Isaiah Wynn and Cedric Ugwehi thing, I'm starting to think that the Dolphins aren't interested in Cam Fleming, which kind of makes me upset.
Well, that's silly. That's like saying, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what that's like saying.
Dallas
That's like
Thomas
saying
is here, man.
that's
We're
like
good.
saying we re-signed Myles Gaskin. We don't need Dalvin Cook. That's what that's like saying to me, dude. That's like such a gap. Like Isaiah Wynn's not good, man. I know that some people want to pretend, including in the media, not even talking South Florida media, like national media, that like they've got this guy pegged to start on the right tackle. And sadly, it would only happen because right now our other choices on the team are so, you know,
Austin
so
Jackson starts
bad.
at right tackle.
They're just so bad. But honestly, I still think that even bringing Isaiah Wynn right now, it's probably Austin Jackson, which isn't good, which says that Isaiah Wynn's not super good. Isaiah Wynn's probably there more for when Teron Armstead misses games. And then you could see Isaiah Wynn at left tackle. And that's probably the better spot for him anyway. Honestly, I think that's more what he's here on the team for than to be the starting right tackle. I think it's still probably Austin Jackson. That's why I believe the Cam Fleming thing makes sense. And Isaiah Wynn has nothing. Bringing Isaiah Wynn on this team has zero to do with whether we would sign Cam Fleming or not. Especially a team if you're willing to re-sign Mostert, re-sign Wilson, re-sign Gaskins, re-sign Ahmed, draft Achane, and then still sign Dalvin Cook. You definitely shouldn't be letting Isaiah Wynn stop you from signing Cam Fleming, or you've got your priorities screwed up.
I mean, we're arguing that they do, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and call it here. We've said our pieces. Who do you guys agree with? Go ahead and let off in the comments, and we'll see if we can answer back the next time. So with all that said, thank you everybody for joining us. Ron, thank you for coming on. By the way, have you signed up for Prize Picks yet?
No, actually, I never have.
Okay, well, maybe it's tonight. I mean, now is the time because today is Taco Tuesday. Use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Or, Ron, if you need to make your car look like the ultimate Dolphins fantasy, I don't know how your wife would feel about that, but nevertheless, you can go to You Break Wheel Fix and go ahead and get an estimate in just minutes by reaching out to Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or online at youbreakwheelfix.com.
Will they paint my wife in Dolphins colors? If
I don't think they will,
but
I don't think they will, and nor do I think they would pay for the lawyers for the divorce that would come after.
Oh, well, I tried.
All right, folks, thank you all so much for listening. We will see you all tomorrow for another episode of Fins Nation.